Here are the top 8 news headlines from the past week, January 11 to 18, 2026. 1. India launches first Vande Bharat sleeper train. On January 17, Prime Minister Narendra Modi flagged off the country's first-ever Vande Bharat sleeper train. The inaugural service runs between Howrah, West Bengal, and Kamakyo, Assam, marking a major shift for Indian Railways toward high-speed, premium overnight travel. 2. Massive 22.2 Indian rupees crore fine on Indigo Airlines. The Directorate General of Civil Aviation, DGCA, imposed a record fine of 22.2 Indian rupees crore on Indigo. The penalty follows a probe into large-scale flight delays and cancellations in late 2025, with the regulator citing overstretched crew rosters and weak planning as critical safety and service failures. 3. Evacuation of Indians from Iran. Following a surge in civil unrest and deadly protests in Iran, the Indian government issued an advisory for nationals to leave the country. Over the last few days, the first batches of Indian citizens have begun returning to Delhi on commercial flights as the Ministry of External Affairs pushes for consular access to those still detained. 4. BJP and Mahayuti win, reaches civic body, BMC. In a major political shift, the BJP-led Mahayuti alliance claimed victory in the Brihanbai Municipal Corporation, BMC, elections. Following the results, resort politics returned to Mumbai as Eknath Shinde's Shiv Sena faction moved its corporators to luxury hotels to prevent poaching before the mayor was elected. 5. Delhi air quality hits severe again. Winter pollution returned with a vengeance as Delhi NCR's Air Quality Index, AQI, slipped back into the severe category. This triggered the reimposition of GRAP 4, Graded Response Action Plan. Restrictions, including a ban on non-essential truck entry and certain construction activities. 6. India-Germany Strategic Pacts. German Chancellor Friedrich Merz visited India for high-level talks with PM Modi in Ahmedabad. The two nations signed a series of significant agreements focused on semiconductors, critical minerals, and a new defense and security roadmap, signaling a deepening of Indo-European ties. 7. ISRO's 64th PSLV launch, Anvesha satellite. ISRO successfully launched its PSLV C-62 mission, carrying the Anvesha, EOS-N1, Earth observation satellite. While there were initial reports of a slight flight path deviation, the mission successfully placed the satellite into its intended sun-synchronous orbit to aid in national mapping and resource monitoring. 8. National Road Safety Week and coaching reforms. From January 11 to 17, India observed its 37th National Road Safety Week. Simultaneously, the central government proposed a major policy shift for the education sector, suggesting a cap on coaching classes, 2 to 3 hours daily, to reduce student stress and a redesign of school curricula to better align with competitive exams. Here are the top 8 world news headlines from last week. 1. Iran protests, death toll surpasses 500. Nationwide protests against Iran's theocracy reached a bloody 3-week mark. Activists report that the death toll has spiked to at least 538 people following a brutal crackdown by security forces. President Masoud Pezeshkian has blamed the riots on US and Israeli interference, while the UN has called for an immediate cessation of violence. 2. Trump's Board of Peace for Gaza sparks friction. President Trump announced the formation of a Board of Peace to oversee the governance of Gaza, naming World Bank President Ajay Banga as a key member. However, the move has caused immediate diplomatic friction, with Israeli PM Netanyahu pushing back against the proposed governing body and Hamas stating it would only dissolve its current government for a unified Palestinian body. 3. Landmark UN High Seas Treaty enters into force. On January 17, the Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction (BBNJ) agreement, better known as the High Seas Treaty, officially came into force. This legally binding UN treaty is a historic milestone, aiming to protect marine life in international waters that cover more than two-thirds of the Earth's ocean surface. 4. U.S. Operation Hawkeye Strike in Syria. The U.S. military, under orders from President Trump, carried out large-scale airstrikes against Islamic State (IS) targets across Syria. Central Command (CENTCOM) described the mission, Operation Hawkeye Strike, as a decisive move to degrade the resurgent group's capabilities in the region. 5. Venezuela. Trump meets opposition leader Machado. Following recent U.S. military strikes in Venezuela and the capture of deposed leader Nicolas Maduro, President Trump met with opposition leader Maria Corina Machado at the White House. The meeting signaled a formal shift in U.S. policy toward recognizing a new administration in Caracas, despite ongoing stability concerns. 6. Kennedy-China Trade Pact Strain, Three Amigos, Ties. In a move that reportedly furioused the White House, Canada's Mark Carney struck several key trade deals with Chinese President Xi Jinping. Analysts suggest this pivot is a reaction to aggressive U.S. tariff threats, marking a significant fracture in the traditional North American trade alliance. 7. Britain and NATO move to secure the Arctic. Amid ongoing tensions over President Trump's stated interest in Greenland, British Transport Secretary Heidi Alexander confirmed that the UK is in high-level talks with NATO to counter Russian and Chinese influence in the Arctic. The region has become a new geopolitical flashpoint for resource control and shipping routes. 8. Elon Musk's Grok AI faces bans in Southeast Asia. Malaysia and Indonesia have officially blocked Elon Musk's Grok AI following an investigation into the tool's ability to generate sexualized and non-consensual AI images. Regulators cited a lack of adequate safeguards from X, formerly Twitter, and XAI despite multiple warnings.